Uh, I would open by saying I think the success we've had this year has been predicated on our pressure, and our pressure in the first half was very poor. DC, credit to them. They really roll up their sleeves. They compete. They played some good soccer. I thought they made us very uncomfortable on the night. In a lot of ways, the name, we mentioned this to the guys, the names on the back of the jerseys for DC aren't the same as LA and Montreal, but they compete and they fight, and they made it hard on us for 90 minutes. And they created some chances against us. Credit to my guys for sticking with it on what wasn't our sharpest night on the ball. We played too many square balls, too many straight passes that were very predictable. Opened up a little bit in the second half and improved. And if you think back, I'm probably always a little too hard on the guys, but then you think about, Seba's chance, CJ's good look. We had a couple good hard balls across the face of goal, and I think we did deserve the goal. On the goal, obviously, Richie stays up and commits to staying in the box. Starts with a very good ball by Josh Yarrow, who was excellent on the night. Good ball on the ground to Seba. Seba knows what he's doing before the ball comes to him, just takes a touch and finds the back post. There's a belief within the group. I think it is clear. We're not, even when it's not our best night, we can win a 1-0 game and roll up our sleeves and fight. We can win a lot of ways. We can win pretty. We can win when we're a little bit off. We can win on a restart. So we've won different ways this year. I think it's a testament to the group. The belief in the locker room is strong, and that starts with Ernie providing that in the whole organization. And we're in a good spot right now. It doesn't get any easier, though. We have to go on the road to Orlando, to Colorado, but I'll go to war with my group anywhere.
Questions will start with Matt on the right.
Jim, what do you tell Richie about staying up, and what does it mean for him to take that opportunity?
I give credit to my staff for that. It was, we joked about it with him this week in terms of a lot of times on corners, because he's such a defense-minded guy. That initial ball comes in and he hits the ground, and if it doesn't go straight to one of our guys, he's just in retreat mode, defense first mode, and he's running back. Mike Sorber, BJ Callahan mentioned to him to take a little risk and stay up there every once in a while. If you're not in the box, you're not going to score. So again, it's one of those things, you do it, 85 times out of 100, and it doesn't come to you, and then that one time it comes to you. I just said 85 out of 100. That's wrong math. 99 out of 100. We'll go that way. But no, Richie was committed to get in the box. Actually scores a pretty difficult goal. It was got on him fast, and a great ball in by Seba. Happy for him to get his first goal. Most happy with the 0 at home. That's where it starts.
Ryan here.
As a center back yourself, do you like seeing the defenders play hero?
Yeah, I mean, I like to not notice my center backs for the most part. That means they're doing their job. I think our center backs right now are playing at an incredibly high level. Ken Tribbett, again, needs to be mentioned at the beginning of the year. Anderson Conceição, they push each other in practice. They work their butts off after practice every day. So, yes, it is good to see them rewarded, because their names don't show up a lot on the stat sheet. But, Richie is a great player, a young center back that's growing in confidence with the ball, really has improved, and it is nice to get a goal. But I still like when it's quiet and you're not talking about the center backs too much. That usually means we're having success defensively.
Joe, here on the right.
What can you say about Josh Schneider? Like, he cleaned up a couple passes early on and continued in the second half.
He's been excellent. Sometimes I think people forget the across that back line. There's 2 kids from Georgetown. There's a young goalkeeper. Richie is, in his second real year of playing minutes in MLS. Fabinho and Ray, experienced guys. And it's a really good back line. The work that's done in front of them needs to be credited as well. We're a team. And you saw in the first half, when we're not all on the same page collectively pressing together, we don't look like ourselves. And it's a sign of a true team, because if one guy's late, if one guy's slow, we get picked apart. So it's going to take everybody being on the same page for 90 minutes, and it can't be in waves. We're not good enough. No team in our league is good enough to go through games like that.
Charlie,
Jim, does a finish like that make the rivalry more real or help intensify it?
Yeah, I mean, rivalries, everybody's talking about rivalries this week. I got asked if it's a rivalry. If you have to ask if it's a rivalry, it's not a rivalry. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at on rivalries. I think rivalries are formed over time and in the playoffs. And our only playoff was against Houston, and we see them once a year. So there's no. It's tough. You know, I read an article today that Orlando and Kansas City have a rivalry, and they played each other one time in their history. So again, it's. Yeah, we don't like anybody in the Eastern Conference. We want to take all 3 points. DC is tough. They're well coached. They're organized. Benny does a great job with them. New York and DC. I guess you could say there's a little something just because of the proximity. We're closer to them. You know, there's relationships. You know, between Ernie, Josh Gross, Benny Olson. You know, there's a lot of we know each other. We know each other very well. So yeah, there's a little something in it. But we're very respectful, you know, off the field, on the field. There's some bite to the games, I would say. But, you know, I don't think there's anything more in it than when we go to Orlando now. It's going to be another roll up your sleeves and get after it in the Eastern Conference. But good game. It was a good game.
Jim, speaking of Orlando, with a quick turnaround, can you quantify how going from a scoreless draw to a 1-0 win, how big the difference is?
It's going to be tough, yeah. To have this, though, momentum on a Friday night when to be honest, the rest of the league is not playing right now, so most of them are watching. To win a game is good for our locker room, obviously, with confidence. To now sit back and watch the Eastern Conference teams beat up on each other a little bit this weekend is good. Orlando's a really tough place to go. It's going to be a challenge. And then you follow it up with Colorado. They're having a heck of a season as well. Pablo's done a great job with them. So it's going to test us, but again, we'll have to be smart. We're going to be fearless on the road. We're not going to be a team that sits back and just absorbs. We're going to play the same way as we play in our home stadium as we will on the road. Obviously, our depth will be tested a bit. That's why we have 2 guys at each spot. So we're ready to go. But yes, good for confidence for sure.
Kevin in the middle.
Jim, at times in the second half, it seemed a little conservative tactically and with the subs. And I know personnel-wise, Warren's a different kind of 8, but we've seen the Fabian substitution moving CJ out wide. Is that a fair assessment to say that? Are we off base?
I mean, yeah. If you say it, it's your decision. I mean, if you say it was conservative, it was conservative. But we won 1-0. We're happy with how we played. Again, Vincent took an injury yesterday, so we were a little defensive-minded. We're working towards, again, essentially, I said it, getting 2 more offensive-minded guys on the field. We're not collectively there yet as a team to be able to sustain that. All 3 of my subs that went in, all 2 were offensive. Fabinho had to come out because of an injury. So what would you have done?
Greg?
Did subbing out Fabinho kind of mess with your sub rotation there a little bit? Because the last sub seemed like it came a little later, I think, than you wanted.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. That affects a lot. When your left back goes down, you don't like to sub your back line, especially when they're keeping a 0. When your left back gets hurt in the 70th minute, you're going to make a defensive sub in that regard. So, nailed it.
Thoughts on finishing and aggression in the box on offense?
Yeah, it can always be better. I think we're a team that's going to create chances over the course of 90 minutes. I like that we're organized defensively. We're tough to play through. So that part is good. Can you get on the end of chances on a different night? Could Seba's gone in, the one that he has in front of the goal, missed touches. That happens. CJ had a good look. The one that Kilo gets to the end line and plays hard across. Yeah, on a different night, we could have got a couple goals. It's good for Richie to get on the end of one. We're a team. Again, there's going to be nights where maybe the defenders have to step up a bit. There's going to be nights where our attackers need to step up a bit.
Jim, what happened to Fabinho?
It sounds like muscle. He says cramp in his calf, so it was tightening up on him, but it wasn't one that was going away. No matter how much he stretched it, it kept coming up, so it was a difficult situation for him to continue to push, and he made the right choice to take himself out. To have Ray Gaddis go in, Ray quietly did a really good job.
Charlie, second row.
Could you give a few thoughts about Pontius? Do you think he was chasing this one a little bit against his old team?
There's always going to be emotion in a game like this. You can say it's just another game, publicly, but yeah, there's probably a little bit more in it. There's probably a little bit more in it for their guys too, because they know them well. They compete against them in the locker room each and every day for many years. Sean Franklin and him know each other inside and out. So there was a bit of a stalemate there. You know what I mean? So I thought that we needed to make a change. It wasn't because Chris was poor or anything like that, but just needed some fresh legs. I thought he was okay on the night, but again, there's emotion there for sure. And I think with all of our guys in the first half, you saw every time they got on the ball, they wanted to make a final pass, and we're kind of pressing. And these are big games. They're early games, but they're big. You know, first place was on the line in our conference, so you know there probably was a little bit of nerves in our entire group, but they responded well with a good second half.
John.
Jim, getting a point when you're down, getting a win late when you're in a one-point game, that seems to be a mental skill that's almost as important as physical skills. And as coaches and staff, you can talk to that players, but you can't do it for them. So to see them developing that mentality within themselves, how does that, as a coach, does that make you feel?
It's great. 'Cause it can feel helpless on the sidelines because you want to, you want to get in their mind with clear it 10 more yards up the field. How do you close out a game? These little things, but you're standing on the sidelines and you're watching and you think you've prepared them well enough to get through those moments, but until they go through them themselves, there's nothing that can recreate it. And there is, you guys have known, there's been games that have been lost here and blown leads, big leads. And it's the only way to go through it again is to win 1-0 games, to know what it's like to grind out, to get a 90th minute goal. It starts with the belief. There are a lot of new faces in the locker room too, so I think a lot of the past is the past. It's gone. And it does need to be said, a lot of these guys have played in a big game or two now. You know, we've lost a couple big games in an Open Cup final, but you still learn a lot from those moments. And they're growing. All of them are in different phases of their development, but to see them go through and come back and show resilience is something that you're proud of as a coach. And it speaks to the locker room that we've built and then the improvement in the organization.
Jim, is there any update on your conversations with Jamaica about when Andre's going to leave for no camp?
Yeah, we know when he will be here with us, and then he's an important piece to us. It's between us and Jamaica right now. We'll make the decision that's best for both parties. Obviously, a goalkeeper that's playing at an incredibly high level. Jamaica wants him to maintain that high level. So do we. He was excellent again tonight, and he's a big part of our success. And he's done a great job. And we know when he'll be making the move to go to Jamaica and play those big, important games for his national team.